Good evening and welcome for those of you who just logged in on Delphi Forum GR, the live transmission, which is for the fourth consecutive day. And as things are coming in the next few hours in closure, I would like once more to thank the organizer of this extremely successful event, as the Delphi Economic Forum has been for one more time. And I don't want to take any more time from our discussion because we have the privilege to host today Mr. Janez Janša, the Honorable Prime Minister of Slovenia. Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much for being here at the Delphi Economic Forum and for having you with us here.
Thank you for the invitation and good afternoon to
for those of you who are watching us via internet, we have to say that Mr. Janša, as his country has been celebrating for the past year, 30 years of independence, one of the most experienced politicians, not only in Slovenia, not only in the Balkans, but in the wider region. And by this, I want to start by asking you, what is your view on the Russian invasion and the war in Ukraine, which has been raging for the past 6 weeks? And I guess, like in Greece, I guess in Slovenia as well, people are asking when and how this thing is going to end.
Well, first of all, on February 24th, the world has changed, especially for us living on the European continent. It changed dramatically for Ukrainians, of course, but also for us. And we are not aware enough how these changes are affecting and how they will affect on everything in the future. I think that we, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, after the collapse of Warsaw Pact and Soviet Union, we have lived in a world where we think that, or where we thought that now Europe will be united, democracy, free market economy will spread across the continent. We just need to wait for another decade or for next generation to come, and we, or the world, which is far away from the era of Cold War, will be somehow created. Because of this wishful thinking, when I say we, I think on the European Union or Western part of the world, Euro-Atlantic community. Actually, because of this wishful thinking, we have somehow neglected strategic answers to the strategic challenges. One of these strategic answers we implemented only halfway is enlargement. I'm speaking about mostly enlargement of the European Union, because during recent period we didn't take this very seriously, especially not only regarding Western Balkans, but especially speaking about our eastern neighborhood. And now we see that if European Union is not enlarging, somebody else does, and now we are paying the price. And I think that currently the destiny of the peaceful future for the European continent is deciding in Ukraine. I was there in the middle of March, together with my Czech and Polish colleague, Mr. Fiala and Mr. Morawiecki. And when you go to Ukraine, when you go to Kiev, when you see, from the first sight, what's really happening there, where you feel the war, you can really judge the determination and braveness of the Ukrainians. I think that this moment is the rebirth of the Ukrainian nation, and we have to do everything to help them to accelerate their EU membership despite the current situation, the current war situation. And we also have to give them all possible help Ukraine be able to defend itself. Currently, as Josep Borrell said yesterday when he also visited Kiev with the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, he said the war in Ukraine will be stopped when Ukraine is able to defend itself. And this is why I think now, of course, we have to help refugees, we have to think about the reconstruction after the war, but first of all, we have to give them all kinds of military help because this is actually protecting the lives, and this is also stopping the war.
Okay. I'm sure that Mr. Zelensky has told you, as he has asked from the EU and NATO, and Slovenia is both an EU and a NATO member state, for more sanctions and for more severe sanctions. And I would like your proper view if the sanctions that have been imposed so far are enough, if they're working, and if you need more sanctions, if you're willing to vote for more sanctions.
Yes, Slovenia voted for all packages of sanctions. We are also cooperating with the European Commission now when they are composing 6th package of sanctions. We all know what's the main problem. The main problem is dependency of the vast part of the European Union to Russian energies, especially gas and oil. Also coal. Coal is not such a problem. I think oil is also not a problem because it could be the supply sources could be easily, not over the night, but still easily on short term replaced by others.
No.
The real problem is gas, but here I will quote the Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi, who said, here we have on the table two things. One is one things are lives of Ukrainians which are destroyed, and on the second part of the table is air condition. So are we prepared to sacrifice some part of our comfort and some of economic price we surely pay if we implement sanctions on the Russian gas on short term, and with this to stop the financing of Russian war machine, or we just stick with the sanctions which are maybe working on long term, but on short term we are still paying 1 billion euros for Russian energy every day, and Kremlin is using this money to finance the Russian war machine. I think this is the main dilemma now on the table in front of all EU member states, and I think that we have to answer to this dilemma. Yes, we have to do it as soon as possible.
So the answer to this question, you believe, is that we are ready to do that, to make a few sacrifices?
I don't know if we are ready, but we have to do it. We have to do it. We know, well, the impact of those kind of sanctions is asymmetric, and this is a problem. We are not all countries in the same position, and every time when this happens in the EU, we need some time to coordinate ourselves. I think that all those visits which have followed our first visit in the middle of March, I think that today there is our Austrian Chancellor there in Kiev, and especially the visits of the President of the European Parliament, President of the European Commission, High Representative Josep Borrell. I think that all those visits are clarifying the picture, and those insights, from the most responsible person inside of the European Union will accelerate the internal negotiations, and I think that also the embargo on Russian gas is coming with the speed train.
Okay. So you talked about the possibility of EU integration of Ukraine. I want to ask another question on the same, but we're still on the same page of EU accession. Slovenia was the first country from the ex-Yugoslavian countries which joined the European Union. Croatia followed. The others, plus Albania from the Western Balkans, are still knocking on the EU's door, hoping to get not a membership, not an accession yet, but a time frame, a timetable. How do you see how is it going, the integration of the Western Balkans in the European Union? What needs to be done?
During the EU summit in October last year, when Slovenia was presidency of the Council of the European Union, we proposed conclusions which were not, unfortunately, agreed with the consensus, but they got support of more than 20 EU member countries. We proposed that we create a strict timeline for the accession of the Western Balkan countries into the European Union till 2030, within next 9 years. And I think we have to decide on this as soon as possible, that the war in Ukraine, the Russian aggression on Ukraine, is only somehow underlying the need to find strategic answers to the strategic questions. And Ukraine should be included into the same timeline. Also Moldova and Georgia, both countries also applied for fast-track EU membership, and I think that we have to deliver this. It's not possible to happen over the night, but within this decade it's possible, and the acceleration process, the real progress is also something which will help to stabilize the Western Balkan region, but also the Eastern neighborhood. But first of all, if we want to come there to this point, we have to stop the war, and we can stop the war in Ukraine only with the strong, determined military help on one side, and on the other side with the effective sanctions which are helping to stop Russian war machine.
And what about the question of Ukrainian refugees? Is Slovenia taking in Ukrainian refugees? Do you put a cap in that, or like you can accommodate as many as possible?
The second, so far we accepted everybody who is coming from Ukraine, and we are prepared to assist further. We are also helping those countries on the first line: Poland, Slovakia, Romania, and Hungary. They are overwhelmed with the refugees, so we are also collecting humanitarian aid for those countries. And we are also collecting help for internally replaced persons in Ukraine. But I don't think that this is a solution. We have to do this, but on the other side, this is not the goal. The goal is to stop the war, to stop the inflow of the refugees, and to establish the conditions for those who escaped to come home as soon as possible. So we have to be concentrated on fixing the problem.
Yeah. Let's jump to another issue, because last year in Athens, the EU Med 7 became EU Med 9. And Slovenia was one of the two countries who joined this coalition for the first time here in Athens. And so what do you think, what exactly is this coalition? What can it turn to, like an alliance of the South? And what do these countries have in common besides enjoying the Mediterranean Sea?
Okay, we have common responsibility for the Mediterranean Sea. We are very glad that Slovenia joined the club. We are grateful to Greece and all other old members of the club to support our membership and also the membership of Croatia. But we don't only share the responsibility for the Mediterranean. We have also somehow similar positions regarding some development issues, some views on how not yet agreed things should be fixed in the European Union. We had very similar position when we negotiated for the RRF fund after the pandemic in the summer of 2020. So I think that living in the similar area is not only influencing the ecological and other issues, it also influences the, specific way of approach when we are seeking common solutions inside of the European Union.
Okay. From these countries, the Med countries, you know very well that for the past 2 years, Greece and Italy especially have been fighting to change the rules of the Dublin Treaty for the way the EU handles the issue of migration. Because Greece and Italy have been saying for many years now that we can't share the whole burden for the whole of the EU. There needs to be some kind of relocation schemes, there needs to be some kind of burden sharing. What is your view in this? Because this is an ongoing dialogue.
There has to be burden sharing. And I think that we are not very far away from agreeing on this position. The main dispute was about the obligatory immigrant quotas. But now I think that this pressure has somehow balanced inside of the European Union because this war in Ukraine is overwhelming with the refugees, the Eastern and Central Europe. And now the understanding of the problem, I think, is very balanced. I hope that this new situation, I not only hope, I think that this new situation will help us to conclude the procedures on those acts which are still pending. We need to strengthen our Schengen area. Yep. We also need to enlarge our Schengen area. I think that we have to do everything that all those countries which are members of the European Union and which share our external border should enter Schengen area and to take full responsibility for this area. I don't think that this double position is good for anybody.
Okay. Mr. Prime Minister, I would like to thank you very much. It was a great discussion. It was an honor having you here at the Delphi Economic Forum. Thank you for this.
Thank you, and congratulations for very good debates. Part of them I was able to follow during this session. Thank you.
Thank you. you.